I want to just make one statement before I tell you a little bit about myself and then a little bit about Shaklee. I'm also the chairman of the World Federation of Direct Selling Association. So it's sort of the governing oversight of the entire direct selling industry, all 120 million people and $165 billion of sales for the industry. And I'm only doing that role because I am deeply passionate about the unique competitive advantage that we have as an industry because of our channel. I believe that the business model for the future, particularly in wellness, and wellness to me is health and beauty. Today, you can't talk about one without the other. You can't be beautiful on the outside and not be beautiful and healthy on the inside, and vice versa. And that convergence is really powerful. And in my opinion, what makes us able to be the relevant modern business model for the future is the community and education and people like yourselves who introduce, educate, support, and encourage. Without that, we're just a product on the shelf. And a product on the shelf is not sufficient to help people transform. There's a few rare people who are incredibly disciplined who don't need anybody else in their life. But in every study, when humans connect and support each other, actually increases longevity, it increases happiness, it's contentment. We are inherently social creatures. And the essence of our model is this community. And if somebody offered me an unseemly amount of money to say, hey, go outside, give up the power of the community that you bring and just go straight to affiliate model or straight to retail, I would not do it for two reasons. One, I think it's not the right moral thing to do from my perspective. I'm not judging anybody else, but that's my own perspective. And secondly, I think it's a terrible investment. I think what makes us different is you. That's our power. And we have shown in clinical study after clinical study that our Shaklee family members are actually substantially healthier. And it's not just because of our amazing products, but it's also because of the community. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about myself. And the reason why I'm not really one to talk much about myself, but when you in our channel are picking a partner or a company, it's really important you know what the motivations are and the structure of the people who both own and run the company, because this is one of the most symbiotic relationships in business. What you do is what you do, which is unique and special. Your superpower is to share authentically high quality products with other people, to educate them, to inspire them, to motivate them, to assist them, to support them, to encourage, and to celebrate. Just small steps every day that help them live a healthier and better life. The company, our responsibility is to create first an amazing clinically proven set of products that are unique and differentiated in the market. And really what's important is that you have to continuously modernize your product portfolio, because what's relevant 10 years ago is not relevant today in the market. And you have to invest. Our company has spent more than $400 million in research and development and clinical proof to create products. And we are constantly reinventing, taking the latest part of science and putting it into products. We need to create products. Without products, there is no business. The second thing that we have to do is we have to create a platform that rewards people fairly for the value that they bring. And again, in our view, we think that you bring so much value to our products. Then you need to have a technology, digital infrastructure. You need to have an operational infrastructure. You need to have a financial discipline and strategic nature so that the company can be run in the long term in order to provide an opportunity for people to build over a long term. So let me tell you about myself, because um, one advantage we have is that I am the shareholder and the chairman and the chief executive. And so many times we've seen when the shareholder and the management are separated, you get different objectives. Some people want just a financial return. Some people want this. If you have partners, sometimes they want to have different objectives. Right now, we're one common objective. How do we create the most amazing community in the world that helps people live healthier, better lives so people can look, feel, and live younger, longer? That's our objective. Okay. So I was raised and influenced by my parents and my great uncle. My mother is now in her 60th year as a public interest lawyer. She has dedicated the last 60 years of her life to helping the poorest families in the United States get access to a better life. Then eventually she was appointed by the President of the United States to oversee all of public interest law. And so growing up, I just watched her give 60 years of her life, her time, her energy to help other people. That's part of my DNA. And then my father died. My father, thankfully, sorry, is still alive. My father's father died when my father was two. And so his uncle really became a father figure to him. So my father and my great uncle were business people. They were very successful in business. And I'm going to share one story. One of the businesses that they bought in 1940 was the brand Burberry, the clothing company. And the reason why I want to share this is that I think it's a really great example for what we can do together. So Thomas Burberry invented the raincoat, and it's exactly 150 years older than Shaklee. Dr. Shaklee invented the multivitamin. And we often talk in our family about how these pioneers of things and how do you make it relevant. So my dad took over as the chairman of Burberry about 20 years ago, and he's like, I'm going to take Burberry and turn it into a global luxury fashion brand. And at the time, the people in the brand were a little bit older. The stores were a little bit more quiet. But he said, there's a history, there's a heritage, there's a quality. And that's the basis of what we can do. And with just a little zip on the marketing side, we can make quality and history and heritage relevant. And what's interesting, if you think about it, is that virtually every major global luxury brand is more than 100 years old. Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, Gucci, Burberry, Christian Dior. And Gucci was an Italian company, made very high quality leather. And then they hired Tom Ford to be the designer, and it just took off. And what I see now with all of you in this community is that you're going to join, and you're the designers that help tip into sustainable long-term growth. Okay, back to my story. So when I was little, I spent my summers with my great uncle, and my great uncle um, built a lot of businesses, but then he said, always said that the reason to have money is to give it away and help others. So he purpose built a house where he could give away money. He had a waiting room, and he built his office by the door in the waiting room. And I would stand as a little boy behind his desk. He had a big giant desk and a big checkbook. And office hours were in the Monday through Friday, and people would come into his office and they'd say, I want to build a hospital. And he would write a check. And I want to build a school. And he would write a check. And then he would say, I want to start a business. And he would stake them in their business. And he loved that. And I remember ever since I was a little boy saying that the look on people's faces when they were supported in the creation of their own business. And in the 1970s, okay, my great uncle gave away $1 billion, which is a lot of money in any world. But 50 years ago, that was really a lot of money. And so the reason why I say that is that I have been raised ever since I was born to give back and to make an impact. And originally, I decided that I would follow in the footsteps of my father and my great uncle, and I would go into business. And then I would use the money that I made in business to give away like they did philanthropically. And when I first started, my father always said, Roger, real wealth and real impact is created over the long term. And when I was younger, I thought, I was like, Dad, that's old school thinking. Today, people are doing things more quickly, more modern. And like most things that my father taught me over my life, they became true and more true over time. I said, I'm going to listen to this. I had a group of people, and we said, look, I want to find a business that I can do for the long term. I'm now in my 21st year of Shaklee, okay? And it has everything that I want in my business life and my personal life and my professional life and my ability to impact. And I'll tell you why I got here. So we made a list 25 years ago of things I was looking for. I wanted to be in a business that would be guaranteed to grow, an industry for the guaranteed to grow for the next 50 years. That was the simple question. And I'm embarrassed to say it took us 3 years going systematically, industry by industry by industry, to find one that I felt would have that long-term growth. And eventually we came to the health industry. And in health, you have two parts. You have the wait till you get sick and fix you, which is pharmaceutical. And then you have the keep you healthy so you don't get sick, which is the prevention business. And our whole entire Western healthcare system is based on wait till you get sick and then try to fix you. And it's incredibly expensive and it's ineffective. We're number one in the world in healthcare expenditures in terms of total spend percentage of our economy. And we're like number 26 in health outcomes behind Costa Rica. It's got to change. So then I said, okay, I want to be in the prevention side. And I said to my team, go find me the leading company in the prevention side. So they took a few months, they systematically reviewed companies, and they came up and they said, okay, we found it. We found this company called Shaklee. And I had never heard of Shaklee before. And I said, okay, tell me about Shaklee. And they said, Dr. Shaklee invented the multivitamin 109 years ago and pioneered the prevention movement. I said, great. And I said, who owns it? They said, a Japanese pharmaceutical company. So I called up the Japanese pharmaceutical company. I said, hi, my name is Roger Barnett. Um, I grew up. My father told me real impact and wealth is created over the long term. I didn't believe him. I went on this other journey. I now think that that's really true. I've looked for 3.5 or 4 years. I went systematically industry. I wanted to be in the prevention movement. I said, who's the leading company? It's Shaklee. I'd like to buy the company. How much? And then they said, it's not available for sale. And so I hung up the phone. I was a little flustered, to be honest with you. And it was then that I started my journey in this industry because when I discovered Shaklee, I also discovered the direct selling industry. And when I found the direct selling industry, I fell in love with the business model. I'm like, this is the first time I have ever seen a business where the very money-making activity of the business is all the things that I wanted to do philanthropically. So we paid out $6 billion in commissions in Shaklee family, but not one penny has gone to somebody who first hasn't helped make somebody healthier, given somebody an opportunity to live a better life and made the world a more sustainable place. And I'm like, this is incredible. So then I looked at 75 different direct selling companies, one by one. And this was between the age of 35 and 39. So peak earnings times. And it was really hard to have the discipline to not just want to jump into something. And I came close a couple of times. And my wife then would look at me and she's like, Roger, you know, you've tried to spend your life, right, with credibility and integrity and authenticity. Are you really comfortable representing those companies' products? Because we found a lot of companies that were really good at the marketing, but when our scientists would review it and our due diligence, there wasn't the substance there. And I kept saying no and no and no. And then I was about to give up. And then the Japanese pharmaceutical company merged with another company and they were willing to sell Shaklee. I was able to jump in and buy the company. That was in 2004. And so I want to let you know that I'm not here by accident. I didn't get hired to come do the job of run the company. I'm here after a lifetime of learning and wisdom and a 5-year search amongst industries and companies to find something that I could believe in. And this, up to Shaklee, I had never done anything for more than 5 years in my life. And I am so grateful to be with this company. I am proud of the community that we have. I am proud that the company before me has always honored what it says. It has deep integrity, and we've continued that tradition. I didn't have to change that, didn't have to change the philosophy. We're founded on living in harmony with nature and the golden rule. And those are fundamental parts of our DNA ever since this company was founded. And my family's health is better. I feel like I'm in the best physical shape of my life. And so it's been really awesome.